You have to bring your A game.
And most of the time, like, we have just barely prep everything. So most of the time, people get everything so fresh, which is just like so good.
It's a Friday night in West El Paso. A group of food trucks are set up in the Tidal Max parking lot near Mesa and Rimcon Circle. The hum of their generators provides plenty of background noise on this warm spring evening.
My name is Mark. I'm the owner of the Untamed Chef food truck here in El Paso, Texas. There y'all go. Thank y'all so much. The Untamed Chef came from my background of working in the kitchen for probably close to 20 years. I said if I ever get my own chance to do what I want in the kitchen, I'm going to be just go crazy with it. Same amount of work, but a lot smaller confinement. So that was the hardest thing to adjust to, is making room for everything that you want. And then later on you find out you don't need most of it. We specialize in what I call American country food. We have a lot of barbecue. We do barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. I have a ribeye steak sandwich. I have a very small menu compared to some of the trucks. I have about 6 items. We do a tapaqueña steak, which has got the cheese on the ribeye with the jalapenos and the grilled onions. And that's very, very popular right now.
He's been in business for less than a year, but has already attracted some die-hard followers.
We have a lot of first-timers come out, and they become repeat customers very quickly.
Hello, my name is Carlos Macias. I'm the owner of Charlie's Rolling Kitchen. We do mostly Mexican food. We do some American sandwich. You know, we do a little bit of everything. And my truck, what actually we represent also, it's the autism. I'm a big advocate for the autism. I have a son with autism. I always had the bug of having my own business. You know, I used to work restaurants since I got out of high school. I noticed the difference when you work in a restaurant, when you're working on the food truck. In the restaurant, yeah, you know what you're eating, but you don't know who's cooking your food. You know what I mean? And I always wanted to have that, you know, that interaction with the customer.
It's just very like relaxing spot for everyone to have a good meal, because you have all kinds of things to get from. You have Mexican, you have Korean, you have Thai grub, you have like American stuff. So it's like, choose whatever you feel like eating that day.
There's been a boom of food trucks in recent years. Numbers from the Department of Public Health show there are more than 500 licensed food trucks in the city of El Paso, more than double the number from just 5 years ago.
The Upstart is 10% of what it costs to open up a restaurant.
And a lot of people think it's easy, and it's not.
We kind of follow Austin, and Austin's just crazy right now with food trucks. So I think we're just going to keep growing for the next few years.
My name is Joseph Ortega, 915 Top Chef. We do Argentine cuisine. I thought I could bring something different out there to El Paso. We got a variety of empanadas, beef, spinach, corn, chicken.
It's competition, but it's all friendly competition. And everybody puts their own touch to it.
I'm not too sure what it is. I don't know. I just know it's really good. It's like probably like tasting sushi, but like all in one. It's good? Yes. Like you need to try it right now.
The owners hope to build a food truck park on the west side. It would give them a more permanent place to call home.
I know a lot of people have that stigma that the food truck food is nasty, that it's dirty. And it's not. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, we have pretty good products out here.
They are the real deal. There's real food. That's just amazing. There's some amazing cooks and chefs out here.
Nate Barrett, CBS 4 at 10.
Like I felt like, oh, I'm an American. I feel proud, you know, but little did I know I wasn't an American.
Estoy orgulloso de haberlo hecho.
These U.S. veterans protected the only country they knew as home. Many of them were brought to the United States when they were children, but never became U.S. citizens.
Oh, well, I'm gonna serve my country, do something good for something better, for a better purpose than me.
Ivan Ocon re-enlisted 3 times with the Army and served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. 2 years later, he was arrested.
And what happened is that I knew a crime was being committed by a member of my family, a real close member of my family, and I didn't report it.
Ocon was in jail for 9 years. He thought he had paid for his crime, but in 2016, he was told he'd be deported. He tried appealing.
I qualified, I passed, I did the fingerprinting, all the tests they do to become a citizen, and but the only thing they said, oh, well, you lack good moral character. And good luck in Mexico and bye.
It's been the work of nearly 2 months to schedule and coordinate everything to meet with these U.S. veterans along the Mexican border. We wanted to show you what obstacles these veterans face beyond this wall.
This is what home now physically looks like for Ocon. Francisco Lopez has opened up his house as a shelter for deported veterans.
Yeah, so we're here at the bunker. Of course, there's the director, Francisco Lopez.
José Francisco Lopez, United States Army.
Leopoldo Jaques, Army.
Arturo Quiñones, U.S. Navy.
Jose Bustillos, U.S. Army.
Michael Evans, United States Marine.
These veterans were also deported, most of them for possession or conspiracy to buy drugs like cocaine or marijuana.
Because most of these veterans, they've been deported 10, 12 years, so they pretty much got somewhere to stay, you know? But this is just in case we get them cases that are freshly deported.
How are you guys?
Good, good.
Good?
Me siento orgulloso de haber servido a las Fuerzas Armadas de Estados Unidos y con la ayuda de mis amigos que son veteranos también, nos apoyamos unos a los otros y eso me da más fuerzas para vivir.
Francisco says the veterans support one another and it gives him the strength to live. The Vietnam War veteran needs medical attention. He has prostate problems.
No tenemos tampoco dinero para poder pagar un hospital o un doctor.
He works painting cars in Mexico but says it's not enough money to pay for his medical bills.
Veterans, whether they're on the U.S. side or in any other country, they need help getting proper health care. They need proper medical and mental health. They also need help claiming their VA benefits because they're all entitled to apply.
Carlos Rivera is a retired Veterans Affairs social worker.
The military, the Department of Defense doesn't do a good job of educating the non-citizens on what steps they need to follow to become citizens after completing honorable military service.
When I joined, the recruiter told me, oh no, this will make you a citizen when you join the Army. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, you know.
As a recently deported veteran, Ocon has hope of coming back to the U.S.
I'm not happy here, you know. I got my daughter.
He knows other veterans who lost contact with their families after being deported. He doesn't want to be the next one.
That was my high school sweetheart.
Corina Osuela was pregnant with baby Eliza when Ocon was deployed to Iraq.
Well, he would have been a good father to her, I believe. It's hard to say now because you weren't given that, you know?
I was willing to do the time. I knew what I did was wrong.
My hope is to get a second chance and go back to the U.S. We paid for it, right? We already paid for it.
All those guys they're all pulled away from their families. They stick to each other because that's what they have right now. That's what they were taught in the military, is to depend on each other. But they don't get to go home to have dinner with their families, take their kids out to the movies, you know. That was stripped from them. It's a sad situation, you know. I don't wish it on anybody. Especially when they try to do something good for their country.
I belong over there, you know.
An initiative in 2009 allowed naturalization at basic training for non-citizens in the armed forces. But since the veterans in Juarez enrolled before, it didn't apply to them. Their hope now lies in Congress to change the laws and bring them home. Adriana Candelaria, KFOX 14 News at 9.
El Paso High, Austin High, the Battle of the Claw. It is the third oldest rivalry in all of Texas. That is saying something. As CBS 4 Daybreak anchor Nate Barrett found out, for the fans on both sides, it's the only game of the year that really matters.
We had some bitter rivalries. When I was 17, I hated those guys. They're on the other side of the mountain, we're on this side. It's all about that claw. It's all about the claw.
The entire squad could go 1-9 as long as you beat Austin.
El Paso and Austin, two of the borderland's oldest schools. They've been rivals on the football field for as long as anyone around can remember.
That's the most important game. Everything else, it's great, but you got to keep that claw.
Perhaps no one understands the rivalry quite like Rudy Escandon. He played left tackle for El Paso High School in the 90s.
I had my uncle play, Ramiro Escandon. He played in '59. He was an all-state quarterback. My mom also graduated from here. My oldest sister, my brother, my sister, and I graduated in '94. My oldest daughter graduated in 2017.
And now his son plays for the Tigers.
It fills me with pride. It's a tradition that keeps on going. And to watch them out there play, it's very cool. I tell my son, October 12th, claw game. Don't worry about everything that leads up to that. It's just October 12th. That's the focus.
On the other side of the mountain.
Oh, there's a lot of memories, man. It's like I wish I was still playing out there with the boys. You'll never forget playing ball here.
Jesus Valderan, or Chewy as he goes by, played linebacker for Austin in the 80s.
We come to every home game, we go to away games.
But the claw game is special.
You have to live it to know what it's like.
There definitely were shenanigans. I'll put it this way. Some of the stuff that we did then would be headlines and would probably get people jailed today.
Rogelio Carrasco is now part of the Austin Alumni Association. But he remembers what it was like to be a student during rivalry week.
No, we did stuff to them and they did stuff to us.
Back then we had real grass to play on. We would take turns burning an E or an A on each other's field, and that's the tradition that we had. Back then, they'd also light the E on the mountain. Austin would do their A and we would do the E. So I mean, it would go back and forth.
At the time, it felt very heated, and then you graduate, and some of those guys marry some of the girls we went to school with. Some of the guys that we went to school with married some of the girls they went to high school with. And it turns out we're really not all that different when you get down to it.
I guess because they're Panthers and we're Tigers.
The fact that you've got the two oldest schools in El Paso, in the oldest parts of El Paso, so you've got a lot of history.
With age comes perspective and a little understanding to this bitter rivalry.
Now I'm an adult and, I'm part of the Alumni Association here at Austin, and so I have to talk a big game about how I don't like El Paso. But honestly, I really respect them.
You don't understand the tradition unless you're blessed enough to live it.
Reporting for CBS 4 at 10.
Go El Paso!
I'm Nate Barrett.
It ain't about what I ain't done. I ain't come to the...
If you're the slightest sports fan, put that on your bucket list. It's a must-see game.
You're not going to use your taser every day. You're not going to use your handgun every day. You're not going to use the baton every day. You may not even use your handcuffs every day, but you will use that vehicle every single day.
On the track, recruits are learning precision driving.
It's such a technical course. The sharp turn.
Turns, braking, backing up, and how to respond to a call.
If it's your family member that needs help, how do you want the officers to respond? Do you want them to drive 10 miles an hour?
We're expected to respond to calls in a safe, timely manner.
But they're coming in with their own driving habits.
It really made me think, like, man, I am a bad driver.
We try to just break their bad habits.
And they learn quickly, it's not as easy as it looks.
It humbled me in a lot of ways.
Speed is a factor a lot of the times in accidents.
Prior to getting in the units, Porras teaches a class called Below 100, a nationwide initiative which aims to reduce preventable accidents for law enforcement officers and bring the number of officer deaths in patrol units to below 100.
Most accidents we know are preventable.
It can happen so suddenly.
On average, 150 officers die each year in their units, a fact that surprised many of the recruits.
I never even thought of it.
I didn't even think about that being a factor.
Be safe, be aware, accountable.
It's very powerful.
I could really get killed doing this.
But even being the best offensive driver can't always protect them from the threats on the roadways.
Officer McDonough, he was killed by a drunk driver.
As part of the course, they watched dash cam video from other department crashes.
It's opened my eyes to the other dangers other than just being shot upon.
Watch your speed, wear your belt, wear your vest.
The driving component is so important, the course is pass or fail.